The Yamaha Tracer range are not really bikes that have been on my radar, and I'm not really sure why.
Yeah.
Because the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus is an incredible sports tourer that is absolutely class leading in certain aspects.
All right, so first things first, that superb engine. What'd you think?
Yeah, look, I loved it. I've got a bit of a thing for triple engines, so
You're
like,
a hooligan rider, that's why.
Yeah, that's me, hooligan. So I absolutely loved it. So it's an 890cc triple with Yamaha's Acceleration Position Sensor Grip and trip-controlled throttle, which means no cables and pulleys, and which also means great throttle response.
Absolutely.
And you could feel it straight away. It was absolutely superb.
I was a little bit worried that when you said that to me, it was going to take off as soon as I touched it. It's not that it was super twitchy and
No, definitely not.
ready to go, but it's just that
It was
power
responsive.
was there. It was responsive, 100%.
Yeah. The next thing is the electronics. Now, the electronics on this bike are industry leading.
Yes.
Yamaha have done an absolutely superb job with this, starting with the adaptive cruise control. Now, this is the first Yamaha with adaptive cruise control, and it's excellent. They have absolutely nailed it. So it's flawless on the freeway, and it's even better than the active cruise control on the BMW Transcontinental R18 that I had.
Which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if the previous Tracers have had this level of electronics.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm coming from an MT-07 2018 model, and the electronics, the jump is so significant, but so impressive.
It's got radar-linked unified braking. It automatically adjusts the front and back brake bias, which is incredible. There's so much input that the bike is putting in to assist the rider.
Yeah.
In terms of braking, in terms of traction control, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're really helpful, and I found them really unobtrusive. Like I kind of didn't know that they were happening.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. I'm like, well, I didn't really notice it in an obvious way, but I mean, the braking was certainly smooth and right there when you needed it.
Yeah, the brakes are excellent. What about the quick shifter?
Love the quick shifter. I thought that was extremely smooth.
And did you notice how it worked with the cruise control? How was that?
I did try it with the cruise. I was a bit nervous because I've never done that before, of combining a quick shifter with cruise control, but it was super easy.
Yeah.
No issues whatsoever. Just shifted up or down when I needed to, and the cruise control adjusted.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. There was no issues using the active cruise control with the quick shifter. It was great. It's got an excellent 7-inch TFT.
Yes.
Which was really easy to read and was really easy to navigate with that joystick.
Yeah, it was full color and it had different themes.
It did have different themes.
See, we found that it was a little bit tricky to find.
Yeah.
But once we found it, I think the second version that we found.
Yeah, it was much better.
And you could read it a lot easier, I thought.
And they look
both
great.
look great.
Yeah. And just the styling of the themes look great as well.
Yeah.
It also has navigation on the TFT via the Yamaha My Ride app, and that's powered by Garmin navigation, and it is via a subscription service.
Yeah.
Don't know how we feel about that, but it is what it is.
Yeah. The brakes are dual 298mm discs on the front and single 267mm discs on the rear.
And as we said, they work brilliantly.
Yes.
Now, the engine modes are really good, and I mostly rode it in sport mode. How about you?
100% I was sports.
Yeah.
I think I tried rain for 5 minutes and then just changed it immediately to sport mode because it is more fun.
Yeah, the sport mode is great now. And as I said, they work flawlessly, with the exception of one time I was riding in the wet and I had it in sport mode and I did lose a little bit of traction. But, I stuck it into wet mode, rain mode, and that was absolutely fine.
I mean, that's literally what it's there for, right?
100%. Yeah. But mostly I left it in sports mode.
Yes.
The suspension was really good. Now, it has KYB semi-active suspension with upside-down forks and 130mm of travel. It also has a swing arm linked rear shock with 137mm of travel. Now, I reckon you could describe the suspension as sporty but comfortable. How about you? What did you feel about the suspension?
Oh, I found the suspension maybe even better than what you just said. Like it was so smooth, and as soon as I got back on my bike, I felt like I was riding on gravel. Like the whole time, it was crazy the difference of that suspension that it really felt like just riding on clouds for me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But like when you sort of did tuck it in and ride a bit quicker, felt nice and like in control.
In control, still kept it smooth, but I think it just had a really great balance of the two.
It's fully integrated front and rear via a 6-axis IMU, which automatically adjusts. but it does have manual preload, but rebound damping is adjusted electronically.
Yeah, I also found that has a little USB port that's
Yep.
located.
Oh, yeah.
It's just underneath the handlebars, and
Yep.
it's so convenient for just plugging in your phone or your navigation. I just thought for a lot of the bikes that we've had, where the USB input is underneath something
kinda tucked
or
away.
behind,
Yeah.
this was just clear, easy to access.
Really well designed.
Perfect.
Yeah, really, really well designed. I found it tipped in a lot quicker than you think it was going to, which took a little bit to get used to, but
Yep.
once I got used to how it tipped in, it was absolutely fine.
Yeah, I found the same thing. It was pretty easy once you get used to it. Like, it only takes a couple turns to sort of understand that, lean with it, and yeah. It's
So
great
just a
fun.
few minutes and you're riding like a hooligan.
Absolutely.
And the sound of that triple?
It sounded great. That was a nice sound.
Out of the stock exhaust it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprisingly how good that stock exhaust sounded.
Yeah.
The seat's comfortable and it's got great ergonomics. There's a really nice reach to the bars.
Yes.
Um,
Still got a reasonably upright seating position, but combined with that seat, super comfy bike.
Yeah, it was comfy. I also found I could easily flat foot it.
Yep.
But when I was riding in the city, I had a really great, because it's a nice and tall bike.
Yeah.
I had a really great view of the traffic, sitting over the traffic.
Welcome to my world.
Good on you. But yeah, but having said that, even if it was tall, I could still flat foot it, and that
Yes.
was good.
Yep, me too.
Now the weight. Now I didn't find the weight too bad. It's 223 kilos, and it has an 18.7 litre fuel capacity. But Teagues, I think you did find it a little bit heavy, or a little bit top heavy.
It was a little bit, I think that was the thing, it was a little bit top heavy, and combined with those panniers, which we'll get into a bit later, I also found it just a bit intimidating in terms of the weight combined with the size of it. But yeah, it just was a little bit bulky, a little bit difficult to move around my garage. But I think that was more the weight distribution versus the actual weight of the bike. So I've moved 220, 230 kilo bikes and not had the same issue. So I think it was just the distribution of that weight.
So like compare it to something like another bike that's in this category, like the Moto Guzzi V100S,
Yes.
which is a heavier bike.
Yes, but I found this a little bit more difficult to maneuver, like stationary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The cost of the Tracer 9 GT Plus is $27,599 right away, which I think represents reasonably good value.
Yeah, I think that sits basically bang on where I would expect it to be.
So like all bikes, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Pretty close to it, but it's not.
We've got to nitpick a little bit.
Yeah, so the first thing that I found a bit odd, now this bike is absolutely laden with tech,
Absolutely.
except you have a manually adjustable screen.
Yeah, which we always struggle with. I just think it's always going to be a little bit difficult when you're riding, even if you're stopped at a light. It's always just a little bit awkward to get that screen up. And ultimately, I don't find it makes much of a difference.
I don't think it did either. Having said that, it was much easier to lift that one than it was on the R1250 RS, the BMW.
Yes.
That thing was hard. This one was actually
It had
relatively
like a
easy to
nice
get up.
little latch that
Yeah.
you could sort of pull, a handle that you could pull and lift.
But why can't you do it electronically?
Yeah.
Don't get it. Now, we mentioned it before, you thought it felt a little bit heavy.
Yeah, a little bit. Like nothing crazy, but that weight distribution, once you're going, it's no problem at all. It's just that stationary weight. It was a little bit hard, but also I'm incredibly weak, so. The other things that I didn't love about it is that light situation,
Okay.
the high beam.
One light on, one light
One
off.
light on, light off. I just, look, if you've seen any of our reviews of bikes like this, it's always an issue for me. I don't know what it is. I like things that are the same, and just having one light on, one light off, not my cup of tea.
Now, I must admit, one thing we disagreed on is I'm not really a fan of the actual styling of this bike. To me, like it's very purposeful, it's very Japanese. Not really my cup of tea. I think it was very functional. I did find the panniers were an odd shape.
Yes.
They're quite wide, and you can easily fit a full face helmet in them, but I couldn't fit my satchel bag in with my laptop. So that was a bit odd. You know, as I said, the looks of the bike, not really my cup of tea. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't mind the looks. I definitely liked it more than you did. But yeah, those panniers just look really bulky on the bike. Like they double the width of that bike.
Which all panniers do.
Yeah, but then I just found it so limiting of what you could actually put in there. In terms of overall looks, I liked it, didn't love it, liked it better than you did.
So, but one other thing I didn't like about the looks is the catalytic converter.
Yes, I didn't notice that until my dad pointed it out to me. He's like, what the hell is that down there? And as soon as he said that, that's all I could notice, this big, bulky converter sitting at the bottom of the bike. Yeah, I wasn't a fan either.
My main gripe about this bike, being a sports tourer, is the chain drive. I just think sports tourers, all the sports tourers that I've ridden that I've really loved, the BMW R1250 RS, the Moto Guzzi V100S Mandello, shaft drive. And I just think it's such a wonderful thing to have shaft drive, particularly on a sports tourer where you don't want to have to worry about chain maintenance if you are out and about.
Yeah.
Look, a chain drive is obviously going to be a bit more responsive to start with. It's obviously a bit lighter. So a shaft's going to add a fair bit more weight. But for me, I'd much rather have a shaft drive on this type of bike. So let's talk about grin factor and how much this bike made us smile.
Yeah.
For me, I reckon it's sitting at about an 8. I did enjoy it.
Yep.
But for me, I just, I wasn't a massive fan of the looks. I thought it was completely, like the bike was so functional and the electronics was superb. The engine's incredible. But just, looks-wise, not really my cup of tea. Still a great bike to ride. Would I have one? 100%. Loved it.
Yes.
So about an 8 for me. How about you?
Well, surprisingly, we're quite close for once. I gave it an 8.5. I definitely liked the looks a lot better. Electronics were amazing. Power was amazing. The actual steering and maneuverability I really enjoyed. I do enjoy a good Yamaha bike, so maybe there's a little bit of bias there as well. But I thought it was a great bike, and overall I too would have one. If I was doing a longer ride, I think it would be perfect.
Yeah. So I think this bike is equally at home as a city bike if you take those panniers off.
Yes.
Or if you take it on country roads for weekend blasts.
Yeah.
But it would really shine as a touring bike, and that's its intended purpose.
Yeah. As far as sports tourers, it really is a great option. And the price is up there with the competition, but I think it's justified.
Absolutely, it's justifiable.
Yeah, it's just all that tech on the bike. And in fact, I reckon it's almost a bargain considering that level of technology on the bike.
Absolutely.
So check out this playlist over here. Thanks, Ross. If you're interested in having a look at some other bikes that would be great to tour on.
And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can ride a motorcycle.
And that's kind of the same thing.